Hey friends, welcome back to another video. Rob here. Today I want to talk to you about announcements that Taylor Guitars made today, which will no doubt shake up the industry, but also revitalize their line for 2026 and the next decade. It's kind of bittersweet for one of them, and that's the ES2 pickup system. They're replacing it with a new Claria system. It probably won't replace anything anytime soon, but whenever you see something like this happen, and I've got the inside scoop, at least the inside speculation on why we're replacing the ES2 system, whenever you see that happen, I just feel like that spells doomsday for it. It's just a feature that's going to become vestigial and go by the wayside. There are two other really interesting announcements. The first one being Scalloped V-Class Bracing. This is really nice. So the V bracing that's inside your 300 series and higher guitars will now be scalloped, especially on the models going forward. It looks like right now they're currently scalloped on the gold label models, which is really nice, and the new, I think, 514 and 814 series. Make sure you go to Taylor's website to check out for all the details, as this is just breaking news and I'm bringing it to you today because I think it's so exciting and I love Taylor guitars. Scalloped bracing is nice because, well, you know it's going to make that top resonate a little bit more by removing mass, and with Taylor's attention to detail and precision and accurate, I just find that I'm pretty sure it's going to be really nice. I can't wait to get my hands on one and try it in a store somewhere. The next thing that they've done, which is really exciting on a repair standpoint, is Taylor is really embracing this right to repair, this user upgradability, this user serviceability, and they've done so by adding a action control neck. That means that you can control the action of your guitar much easier. I just got through making this saddle right here a few months ago, and of course in order to make the saddle I had to make it out of a blank, and then I had to get the action right, and yada yada. It's a whole process. It takes me a couple hours to make a saddle, set it up, and put it in. It's a beautiful saddle, right? But what if I didn't have to do that to change my action? What if you just were able to adjust the neck so that it's straight, tuned to pitch, so that it sounded good, your nut action was good up here, and then you just twisted a little knob or a little nut down here inside of the heel block and it changed the height of your strings? What if there was something like that? Well, okay, Taylor's done that. They brought in their NT new technology neck design to make changing the neck or neck angles or neck resets easy as a guitar ages, and now we're getting this action control system, which makes it even easier. Owning a Taylor for 50, 60, 80 years has become easier to keep it playing like new, and I'm excited to see that come through. I can't wait to see how that trickles down to the models. Here we go. This is the buzzword issue. Here's my hot take. Taylor's changing out to the new Claria onboard pickup system. You have to understand a couple things. The ES2 system has received a lot of hate over the years, in my opinion. I love the ES2 system because I understand how to use it. I understand what this little 0.050 Allen key does. It adjusts the three pickups that are actually in the saddle facing towards it, instead of underneath it with the saddle sitting on top of it. You see, that's a big deal. The problem with under-saddle pickups has been for a long time how they can sound quacky, because you put pressure on them from the top. So if you're palm muting something, you get a quack, you get a pop, right? Because the saddle sits on top of the pickup, and what it requires to make an electric current, which the pickup picks up, is pressure, right? So when you push your hand down like that, if you're going to do some rhythmic strumming like that, let's turn the EQ on. No quack, just thump. In fact, that's because of the ES2 pickup. In fact, listen to this. Wow, in order to get the taptic response that most systems would want, like that flamenco response, you would need to put in a small microphone inside of the guitar and then have a blend. Fishman does this with their Precis blend system. Godin also has one, and Ibanez has something that works similar to that for that Tim Henson guitar. You know the one I'm talking about, which is great. In fact, Cordoba worked with Fishman specifically to put two K-Pure mini style undersaddle microphones to go with the undersaddle pickup, and those microphones pick up in the body, the little contact mics. And then on that Cordoba stage, I did a review of it. You get a whole tone blend and all this other stuff, and you can blend the microphones in. Well, that's great, and it's a whole lot of work because the ES2 system already does it, okay? Okay, did you hear that? Okay, so that's just a benefit of the ES2 system when it's set up properly. In order to set it up properly, you have to understand how it works, and it is a bit fiddly if you ask me. It's a bit fiddly because it's a very sophisticated system. Instead of one pickup underneath the entire saddle, you have 3 pickups that are behind the saddle. The pickup is not underneath the saddle for the saddle to sit on top of. Instead, the pickups are behind the saddle and they press against the saddle in certain spots. There are 3 pickups because each small piezoelectric pickup controls 2 strings. The low E and A, that's one pickup right here. The G, or the D and G, that's the middle set of strings. Think about it as your mids. And then your E and B, your high E and B, that's your highs. So you've got treble, middle, and highs. And you would adjust the pressure, the sensitivity of the pickup by either tightening the pickup, making its connection to the saddle stronger, or loosening the pickup, pulling the pickup away from the saddle, meaning a less sound would be transferred in that energy when you strike the string. What happens here is you have your own onboard EQ specifically built into your pickup. How cool is that? Well, if you don't understand how it works, and if you don't understand that 1/8 of a turn, 1/8 of a turn, not a quarter, not a half, but 1/8 of a turn is a huge adjustment on this kind of a pickup, well, you can see where there could be some trouble. Let's go about to the other side. The Claria system gets rid of all that by putting the saddle, the pickup, underneath the saddle, which probably gets rid of the quack because, to be quite honest, piezo pickups have gotten a lot better in the last few years, constant improvements, and LR Bags uses them. So I don't have a problem with an undersaddle pickup if it doesn't quack, right? If it doesn't quack, quack, quack. But the point is, that's where it's going on the new Claria. But the Claria gets rid of your tone controls or your EQ controls. You get a tone control. You get a volume, you get a EQ, tone, I should say, and then you get a contour control. Okay. The contour control allows you to set everything to a flat EQ response, to give yourself a smiley face response with boosted lows, boosted highs, and a scooped mids, and then allows you to do the reverse. You can reduce your lows, reduce your highs, and boost your mids. Well, it does that through one knob where you just twist it. Okay, guys. That's the exact same thing as the ES2 system up here. People just didn't ever understand it because, honestly, it's got like a 12-page manual, and guitarists often can have a hard time getting their knuckles off the ground. Most of them didn't even graduate high school, so who could you ever get them to actually read a manual on how to use something? No. So I'm saying that because I play guitar too, and I understand how frustrating it is to have to go into a manual to figure out how something works. But that's what I had to do with the ES2 system, and I got it figured out. And if I could do it with my knuckles dragging, I'm sure you could too, probably. Anyway, the idea is that you have a 2-band EQ that kind of controls all 3 bands. The 2 that you can control, and then the volume, happens to be your highs and your lows. The mids are fixed. This was very much like a blackface Fender amp, you know? Where you just have a treble and a bass, the mids are fixed. Wow, we could figure that out, but you couldn't figure it out on a guitar? I don't know, still dragging knuckles. The point here is if you wanted to scoop the EQ, boost your lows, boost your highs, but your mids stay the same, so you get that smiley face. If you want to cut your lows, just cut your lows. If you want to give the reverse smiley face, cut both the lows and the highs. If you want to give a strange low cut and high push, boom, you go opposite, right? In any event, it's not difficult to see how this works. The problem is, if you're not set up properly here at the saddle, like we talked about earlier, well, then you're going to have a problem. For me, I have enjoyed using the ES2 system, and I am excited that it's here on this guitar and some other ones that I have, and I hope to see the ES2 system. Maybe it'll trickle down into all the GS Mini Series guitars, maybe even the Baby Taylor. Maybe what will happen with this new Claria system, which seems to be a less obtrusive, sound hole controlled, no holes in the guitars for additional electronics, just a plug-in and a battery pack right there. It seems to be a lot less work to get it into your system, and it seems to be a lot less fiddly to use because now you have one less degree of control. You can't control your individual EQ from your strings because it's not there. And I think that's what most users never figured out how to do. So like Apple taking away the headphone jack, Taylor said, we're tired of you guys not understanding how to use it, and gave you a system that works better for you, but maybe doesn't work better for every system directly. I consider this like an active EQ because I get to change my EQ based on what it is that I'm doing, although I just set it up and go with it and then boost and everything there. But that's why I'm kind of bittersweet, because something as transparent as that sound right there is now gone. Let's go ahead and take it through the range. Here's a strange scoop with the lows removed and the highs boosted and the mids in the center. So it's like that. Now we're going to do the reverse scoop. So it's the mids. It's like the frowny face. Now we're going to scoop it. So it's the smiley face. And now we're going to pull the bass out and let the mids and the treble stay about even. And now, once again, all of that with no PA. Everything you've been watching today has been simply picked up by this on-lapel mic in my DJI, Pocket Go 2. So you can hear the difference as you've heard right here without any sound boosting. In fact, I'm not even running through a regular guitar amp. One of the most beautiful things about the ES2 system is how transparent it was when going into a PA. This is a PRX, JBL PRX1 right over here, and it's just set up no EQ, no nothing. The settings on it are -10 on the master and 0 decibels on the input. Everything else controlled from the guitar. Guys, I'm Rob. I hope that you have found this helpful and useful. Get ready for a bunch of new innovation coming your way from Taylor. You're going to pay for it, but it's going to be worth it. I want to thank you so much for watching. Remind you, I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye for now.